It all started like any regular call, a report about someone trespassing. Officers Akinyemi Borisade and Nathan Vickery showed up to check it out. When they got there, they found a woman named Mayra Martinez at her workplace, clearly drunk and refusing to leave. Things took a turn when Officer Borisade stepped in to handle the situation. Instead of calming things down, he got aggressive. Witnesses say he hit Mayra several times, using way more force than needed. Officer Vickery saw what happened and knew it wasn't right. He reported it to his supervisor, and soon after, an investigation began.
So you guys decide to head down to the jail. I'm guessing you're driving.
I am
her,
correct.
and I guess Borsadi followed you.
Correct.
As a 35. You guys get to the jail.
Mm-hmm.
What route did you take? 95 North?
No, sir. I jumped on Phillips and took Phillips, and then jumped on 95 from all the way to the dead end of Phillips, and jumped on 95 from there.
Gotcha. You guys get to the jail. What do you notice when you get to the jail? Like, how crowded was it, and what time did you arrive there, you think?
Oh, man. What time would we have arrived there? 5:30 maybe?
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
I'm not 100%.
And what was the crowd like? Like, how many cars
it
were
was It was a decent crowd. There might have been 3 or 4 people waiting to get in.
Okay.
Suspects, inmates at this point, waiting to get in. I was able to park pretty much in front of the intake door.
Okay.
But there were multiple cars. Fortunately, I had to park up front towards the exit.
Okay, and I guess, so when you get to the jail, you guys go inside before you start completing the arrest report?
No, sir. We had started on the arrest report then, actually.
Where at?
In the Sally Port.
Okay.
In the Sally Port,
Right.
yes, sir.
So...
Oh, that's what you mean. I'm
yes,
sorry. We were
yeah.
in the Sally Port before we started,
okay.
Correct.
So, you guys are in the Sally Port, and then that's when you begin to complete the arrest docket.
Correct.
Let me ask you a question, and just to clear some things up. The arrest report. You did the arrest report. Who did the narrative?
Officer Borside did the narrative,
Okay.
yes, sir.
And I guess, tell me the reason why he did the narrative.
I think we're just thinking because she was hobbled and just in a way to expedite the process. He said he might actually send it through MDC. Would you like me to do the narrative? And I said that'd be perfect. I'll start on the blocks, and we'll knock that out.
Okay.
Now that we did review the narrative together.
Okay, not a problem. So you're doing the docket. You're checking in all the biographical stuff for her. He's doing the narrative. I guess at some point he sends you the narrative. You guys review it. You submit it. Who was the approving supervisor? You remember? Garrett.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever notify your supervisor of what you had prior to getting to the jail?
No, sir.
Okay.
It was he was. I believe that was the day he was on something. He told us he was going to be off the radio.
Okay.
And stuff for a while. So if we had anything, send it to somebody else.
Gotcha. So you guys complete the docket. It gets approved. How long do you think that process took?
It seemed like it took a while. It had to have taken a good hour and a half.
Okay.
Because I had a robbery appointment to be on at 7. I ended up showing up a few minutes late because of it. So.
Okay. And so the entire time, was she in the car or did you guys let her out?
She was in the car the entire time.
Okay, that you guys were completing the docket.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Sounds good. So docket's approved now and she's about to exit. What side of the vehicle did she exit on?
The driver's side.
Okay. And at that time, she had the hobble on. Who decided to take the hobble off?
I did.
Okay.
I spoke with. She had actually started to calm down quite a bit at this point.
Yes, sir.
The detectives started by trying to piece together exactly what happened after the arrest. They wanted to catch any details that didn't add up. So they asked for specific information about the suspect and took a closer look at the arrest report, especially who wrote it. Their goal was to figure out if anything in the report might have been false or misleading.
She was, for once, being pretty quiet in the back seat, not saying much. At least if she was saying anything, it wasn't profanities. I opened the back door and I said, look, we can take the hobble off if you continue to cooperate. We'll remove this for you. That way you don't have to hop up to the front door. And we'll, let your legs breathe or whatever. And she agreed. She said, okay.
Okay. So you take the hobble off. Do you give it back to Borisati, or you held
I
on to
actually
it?
went and put it in his car. I
Okay.
told him, I said, hey, I'm going to place it in your car.
Okay.
So I did.
So now it's coming close to, I'm guessing if you're saying you guys get there 5:30, you have the deployment around 7 o'clock. Tell me about the determination for you to leave and him to stay with Ms. Martinez.
Well, you know, I told him, I said, you know, I have a robbery appointment to be on at 7. You know, I'm already late, and I hate being late for those things. But I just said, you know, you're the second arresting officer on the docket. I said, you know, would you mind staying? You can, you know, sign the docket. And yeah, he said, yeah, absolutely. That's fine. Go do your thing.
Gotcha.
So, yes, sir.
And when you left them, how was she acting while standing in the Sally Port waiting to be admitted into the jail?
I mean, I wasn't there long. I don't remember her acting out at all.
Okay.
But I wasn't there very long to watch or observe.
Okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong, you were not there for the entire incident that led up to the altercation between...
No, sir.
Detectives asked Officer Vickery why he left Officer Borisade alone after Mayra Martinez was taken out of the car. Vickery explained that he had another assignment coming up, so he had to leave and let Borisade handle the paperwork, including signing the docket. After that, they started asking him more questions about what actually happened during the incident.
Because you had already left at that time.
Yes, sir.
Were you concerned about any of the use of force at the parking lot?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What concerned you?
There's quite a few punches thrown.
Okay. And when you say quite a few, what are you talking about? The number, the areas that the punches were thrown
No,
to?
the number.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a lot of punches. More so attempting to control her arm and detain her.
Vickery seemed uneasy about the way force was used on Martinez. Even though he was clearly hesitant to go against his fellow officer, deep down he knew speaking up was the right thing to do.
So you're concerned about the number of punches thrown, not the area that they were thrown.
A lot of the ones that I saw were mainly to the back and side. It seemed like a pain compliance, but I think a combination of the number and then where they were thrown could have concerned me. Such as you throw a few punches to the back or whatever, and to give a little pain compliance,
right,
and to get her hand removed is fine. Continuous side back, I think is what kind of triggered
a little concern for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so but when he's striking her or punching her, the handcuffs were not on yet, correct?
They were not on yet,
okay,
yes, sir.
And she was not compliant. She was still resisting you guys' demands for give me your hands, give me your hands.
I had her left hand with the cuff behind her, but the right arm was not.
Right. So the strikes was probably to get her to, I guess, take her hand from in front of her to surrender to you guys' instructions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said it was in the back and in the side.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Did you tell someone that about the strikes?
I called Sergeant Weeks.
Okay.
About the time I went into the robbery deployment.
Yes, sir.
I just called him real quick, just a quick concern.
Okay.
And a heads up.
Vickery made it clear that Borisade threw more punches than necessary. Even though he didn't have a perfect view of everything, he said hitting the suspect on the side like that seemed over the top. At the time, the suspect wasn't wearing handcuffs, but Vickery believed that 1 or 2 punches would have been enough to get her to cooperate. He also told the detectives who he had spoken to about the incident, just to keep everything transparent.
What at the parking lot of Scores, did the actions of you guys begin to create a crowd, or?
No, sir. I don't remember a crowd at all. I remember a white truck pulling up right about the time we took her down. And then I I remember him still there, actually, when I told you that time that we got him detained, and I just kind of took that breather.
Yes, sir.
And I remember him still there at that time. But there was no, I don't remember anybody outside. But, you know, I was so focused on her, trying to get her detained. But even after the fact, I don't remember anybody outside.
Okay, and you are aware of the video that came out yesterday inside the Sally Port.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you, were you aware about the other video of the parking lot? Did somebody call you this morning and let you know?
I was called about it last night, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I called about it last night.
Somebody, because it was at the bottom of a news article or something of that
Yes,
nature.
sir.
Who notified you of it?
It was a fellow officer of mine,
Okay.
a friend of mine.
Just kind of wanted you to see, like, hey, bro, this is probably going to happen.
It just said, you know, hey, this video has come out, everything. So.
Well, let me ask you a question. Now, you know, because we've reviewed the video as well. Looking at the video, tell me your opinion of looking at the video. Was it the same as the concerns that you communicated to Sergeant Weeks?
There were some things that were missed on
Okay.
my end that I didn't see. I don't know if it was adrenaline or maybe the few times that I looked up to, you know, the radio and contact, you know, to call for backup. But there were some more that I didn't see, that I didn't communicate to them at first.
Okay. But all in all, and look, I'm not here to. What am I trying to be, the moral police? Okay.
Yes, sir.
You guys are taking a person into custody who you guys had to respond to because of her level of intoxication, and she's not being compliant with her supervisors who terminated her and asked her to leave the premises. So as a result, you guys respond. While affecting an arrest, at some point, you guys were not able to get both handcuffs on. And if she's swinging it as a weapon, like I said, I don't think the video showed that portion.
The detectives then asked Nathan about the scene itself, whether he noticed anyone else around during the incident. He said he didn't see anyone nearby, but admitted he could have missed something since his attention was on detaining the suspect. Later on, they brought up a video of the incident that had been going around. Nathan said he was aware of the video. While he admitted there were parts in the footage that he hadn't personally witnessed, he stood by his original statement that too much force had been used.
So of course, you know how these things are.
Of course.
You get the juicy part, but you don't get the whole picture. Okay,
Yes,
so that will be for supervisors to determine. But look, when you're affecting an arrest and people are non-compliant, okay, and actively physically resisting, okay, sometimes things look bad, but are they justified? You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
So, but what you did by calling Sergeant Weeks was the appropriate response for
Yes,
everything, because all you wanted to do was, hey, Sarge, FYI,
Yes, sir.
you know, I may not have agreed with everything, but we're making an arrest. So,
Yes, sir.
you know, I'm just keeping you in a loop in case you get questions. So that's fair enough.
The detectives thanked Vickery for doing the right thing by reporting the incident to his sergeant, but they also reminded him that a video doesn't always show the full picture. It almost felt like they were trying to justify what happened, suggesting that there might be more to the story and that Borisade might not have been the only one at fault.
Is all she told me.
Okay. What about, and you didn't speak with management. Did Officer Borisadi and you communicate when he came out of the business after speaking to management before you guys approached her?
About just anything?
Like the
or just-
reasons why management wanted her gone.
The only thing I got from him, and I honestly couldn't tell you when it was that I got this from him, but he just said she was fired because she came to work drunk.
Okay. So she came to work drunk is what? Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
What in your short time out there, because you guys have just been out there for like 2 months, which is probably the equivalent of a couple of work cycles.
Yes, sir.
Had you ever responded to any of the calls with Officer Borisadi?
Yes, sir.
And tell me about it. Was any of those calls you having to go hands-on?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
One previous, yes, sir.
Was-
just one, yes, sir.
Was it a situation that got out of control, or
No, sir, not at all. Well, I say out of control. It was a domestic situation, where we were trying to detain the husband
Okay.
for domestic battery, felony domestic battery. and he resisted. The wife wanted to come out and save husband.
And everything was acted within policy and procedure.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Vickery explained that Mayra Martinez had been fired for showing up to work drunk. That was all he knew, since it was Boris Sud who actually spoke with management. When the detectives asked about his past experiences working with Borisade, Vickery said everything had always followed proper procedures before. The detectives then stepped out to clarify a few things, letting Vickery know he'd be free to go soon. But when they returned, they had a few more questions for him, this time about the police report.
Did you watch the video of the Scores parking lot prior to completing your RTR?
I did, yes, sir.
Okay. Did you reference anything from the video to base your narrative for the report?
As far as...
Or was it independent?
No, I really went into the RTR as independent as possible.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to say that, seeing the video. I saw the video,
right.
But yeah. I went in thinking from the time of the incident.
Okay.
Looking at
You said you actually missed some things on that you seen on the video that you missed. I guess
the time that happened.
Right. What exactly are you talking about?
I think there was a point where he actually pushed her face or whatever into the ground.
Okay.
Maybe once, maybe a couple times.
Okay.
And I didn't see that at the time that it happened.
Okay.
They asked Vickery if his RTR report was influenced by the video showing Borisade hitting Mayra, and whether there were parts he didn't remember happening, but saw in the footage. Vickery kept it simple. He said his report was based solely on what he remembered. He also admitted that he didn't see Borisade push Mayra's face into the ground, even though the video clearly showed it.
What was the reason why you think he would have done that?
Man, I wish I could tell you.
Okay.
I really do. I don't know.
How many fights have you been in your life? Physical fights?
Oh, man. I haven't been in any off-duty or any outside of the course of the job.
Okay.
And during the course of the job with corrections in here, man, I don't know, 5, 6 maybe.
So, and all the fights you've had, are you starting now to notice the tunnel vision you get?
Absolutely. I mean, I still struggle with tunnel vision when fighting out.
We all do.
It's
We all do.
It's human nature.
That's the
go
body,
away.
right?
Yeah.
That's the body. And I mean, you got the SWAT guys that they train themselves how to
Absolutely.
fight it and do a lot better job as us who don't get that training. But because what I'm trying to decipher was, did you miss what you didn't see on the video because you just didn't want to see it, or is it because, hell, you guys are both boogieing and trying to take care of business to get her to stop resisting?
No, sir. I think it was straight adrenaline.
Okay.
I just, there's just some things that I just missed, and when I look back at the video, I know when he pushed her head into the ground, I was trying to communicate over the radio at that point. So I think with just holding her down, trying to communicate over the radio, I think my mind was just elsewhere, and whether, I just didn't see it.
Okay.
Or it didn't register.
And so
The detectives then asked Vickery if he had any idea what might have caused Borisade to act the way he did, but Vickery didn't have an answer. They also wanted to know why he missed the part caught on video. Vickery gave them a straightforward reply.
It was tough to watch. Yeah. Even being a buddy of mine.
okay. Do you agree, disagree, or
Disagree.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Vickery felt uneasy having to talk about his friend like this, but he made it clear he didn't support what happened and believed it needed a deeper investigation. He stayed focused on doing the right thing, keeping his emotions out of it.
What you do, I think the world of what you do, and no, you don't have a lot of heroes that will sign up to do what we did. Okay, so first things first, don't you ever second guess yourself on this job, because that'll get you killed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can do all this Monday morning quarterbacking that we want to do, and the outside world can do the same thing, but they don't have the balls to sign up to do what we did. All right, so you guys stand up for that and understand something. Okay, when you get into these kind of situations, it can turn very ugly very fast. And I guess in your training is why they tell you, let's get this crap off.
The detectives showed some sympathy toward Vickery, trying to help him relax and open up. They wanted to find out if Vickery didn't stop Borosati because he agreed with him, or if there was another reason behind it.
It looks bad. What didn't you notice on that dash cam? Tell me what you didn't see on that dash cam.
I did not see.
Yeah.
Before her fighting us before.
Absolutely.
The reason why we took her to the ground.
Correct. Do you see her flailing the handcuff to strike you guys? You're not going to see that because, yet again, vantage point, and yet again, it's when somebody decided to start filming it. So that's what we do. Okay, we'll sit here and be the Monday morning quarterback, but I don't ever want you or any of the officers out there working doing anything excessive. But at the same time, you guys got to handle business, okay? Because if not, you'll end up getting hurt. Okay, and you got to remember that. So that's not what's being seen. And the head slamming, yeah, you might not agree with it, because when we start looking back at it and now we get to see it in a different light, while you're calm, there's no tunnel vision. Hey, I can't tell you why he did what he did, okay? But I would tell you, when you're in a fight,
things happen.
Things
Absolutely.
happen.
The detectives then asked Vickery what the dash cam video didn't show. The answer was everything that happened before the incident, like Mayra's aggressive behavior. They told Vickery that during fights, things can get confusing, and Borosade might have acted on impulse.
When she kicked at you, I guess you said something earlier about you trying to push her hands up. Remember?
Oh, yeah, that was afterwards, and I was trying to transport her to the car.
Okay.
Just kind of, yeah, sir.
So when she kicks you, what happens then?
Stand her up, she kicks. You know, I think at that point I just really tried pulling her to the car. I think it was just, get her in the car and get her secure.
Did you notice Officer Borosati slamming her head in the car?
No, I didn't notice any of that. I remember grabbing her and pulling her to the car.
Okay.
And putting her in. I honestly don't remember, no, sir.
So you told me earlier in the interview there was a time that she tried to back kick you, or mule kick you.
When we stood her up, yes,
right.
Sir.
And then there was one that she did kick you, and she possibly contacted you.
I'm not sure where we're getting to them at. I mean, I know she was kicking when we were originally trying to get her handcuffs, and she was originally stood up before she was on the ground.
Okay.
I know she was kicking. And then she mule kicked when I had her stood up in handcuffs and was about to take her to the car.
Okay.
I remember by video that making contact, but I think that was strictly from video. I don't remember anything.
Could have kicked you,
At the
your
time of
adrenaline
seeing,
was rushing.
absolutely. I don't remember feeling.
The detectives then asked Vickery about what happened after Mayra was handcuffed and whether he remembered everything shown in the video. Vickery answered honestly, saying he didn't recall every detail, like the part where Mayra kicked him. He even said he didn't remember feeling the kick or if it actually made contact during the struggle. Interestingly, Vickery didn't mention the kick in his report, even though he knew it happened. That actually made him seem more trustworthy, since he could have easily included it if he wanted to cover up what really went down.
But like I said, we don't see a whole bunch of the fighting before y'all go to the ground. We don't see her flailing and swinging with one handcuff on and you trying to wrestle her to get another hand. We don't see all of that. So, sometimes it's a small picture of an actual big story.
The detectives explained why they were asking so many questions and reassured Vickery that it's normal to forget parts of an event, especially in high adrenaline situations like this. Then they stepped out for a bit and came back with one last question.
All right, last question, and then we'll let
Yes.
you get out of here. Okay, when you watch the video from the dash cam that you saw from the scores, and you said you noticed him slam her head or push her head into the ground, was there any reason you didn't document that as a part of the RTR narrative?
Because from the video, it's, I'm getting up and getting on the radio. Like I told you before, I was trying to document as much as possible of what I kind of
Remember.
got from the incident, from the time that happened, and I'm sure the video played a role in kind of what refreshed my memory.
Okay.
But because of the way I was on the radio and looking up, and I don't think that refreshed my memory. I think that was something that I strictly.
Vickery made it clear that he didn't want to include anything in his report that he didn't actually remember. Like the part where Boris Sadeh slammed the suspect's head on the ground. He only saw that happen later in the video since he was on the radio at the time. Not long after, Officer Boris Sadeh was fired and pled guilty to a simple battery charge. Meanwhile, Mayra pled guilty to resisting arrest. Vickery could have tried to protect himself by twisting the story, but instead he stayed honest, sharing what he remembered and admitting what he forgot. It's a reminder that there are good cops out there, but the challenges they face are real and tough. If you want to watch more interrogation videos, consider subscribing to the channel. I do my best to share videos like this as often as possible. Cheers!